Second board has been shown. Green flag waves at the back. Red lights come on. Clutches at biting point. Away they go, very slow from the front row men. Quinquamar wants to come through. Loeb has made a good run on Thiago Monteiro. Tarquini as ever starts well. And it's Loeb and Lopez and Mar wheel to wheel. Benani has been swamped. Loeb is alongside him, and Lopez takes the lead into the first corner. And the Hondas have moved up very well there. 5th, 6th and 7th. Ahead of Ivan Muller, who from 10th is now in 8th place. Well, front row starts were awful, but not as awful as Hugo Vallant. His car didn't get away from the grid. Harry, that's a disaster for him, but there's lots of activity as the grid is already being shuffled.
Yeah, it's disappointing because he was fast yesterday, and it'd be interesting to see how he was going to get on today. But Benani's being shuffled right back down the order, but he got a bad run out of turn 2, so that's affected him down the straight there.
Nicholas jumps the curb. Shouldn't be a penalty there. He didn't pick up a spot. He avoided an accident. Ivan Muller behind. Mikelic dives to the inside, puts his car on the apex. No way of fighting that without having a big one. So Muller picks up another spot, goes to 6th place. He started 10th 4 corners ago. Tom Coronel and Tom Chilton, teammates, nose to tail, now ganging up on Stefano D'Aste. And the first of the yellow larders is Mikhail Kozlovsky. Kozlovsky in 11th. Muller was in 10th, he's now up to 6th, is he? Lopez leads, and who went through the chicane? Chilton and Coronel.
Yeah.
Allows several cars to go through. Has Coronel's brakes blown already?
Coronel's cut out, I think. It looked like he was pulling over there.
He did pull over in qualifying, didn't he? And parked it at the side of the track. Whoa, big slide from James Thompson.
Yeah, Coronel's broken down in the background there.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened to him qualifying. The car died on him, and what had happened in, we thought it was the drive shaft. What had happened was one of the air jacks for lifting the car up was stuck, had come down and was scraping on the road.
It looks like Coronel's had a bit of contact there. His front bumper's hanging a bit low on the left.
I thought that on the formation lap, actually, that on the wheel arch there was a gap in the bodywork, so maybe that's not unrelated to another wheel jack problem. Lopez leads from Mar, Loeb in 3rd. Factory Citroen's 1, 2, 3. Benani is in 4th. Thiago Monteiro in 5th. Ivan Muller's got by Gabriele Tarquini's Honda as well as Norbert Mikelic. So Muller in 6th place. And he will attack Thiago Monteiro post-haste. Don't forget, Muller starts race 2 in 10th. And we'll have to assume that Lopez will move up, so he has to move up now. There's Tom Chilton in the middle of the larders, holding off former world champion Rob Huff. This is the battle for 12th. Chilton in 12th, Huff in 13th. In front is Kozlovsky, and Thompson's got by him. There is Lopez. Length of that first bit of the straight in front.
You can see Mar pulling out there. That's like we heard Coronel saying, just to get a bit more extra air through the brake ducts, to keep those brakes cool.
Well, Hugo Vallant has not started the race, and Tom Coronel has not made it back to the pits yet. So we'll wait to see as they come by where he is. It's all still green. Coronel is not being shown in the pits. Yellow flag turn 14, and that is the last hairpin, because Coronel is crawling down towards it as everybody else comes steaming into sector 3. This is going to make it green flag. That means Coronel's on the pit entrance road and out of the way. Chilton has a look at Kozlovsky. No dice.
It's such a difficult place to overtake there. You can see Rob's sort of being backed up a little bit by Tom Chilton there, but it just, you know, if you've got a car which is equally quick down the straight, then it makes overtaking pretty much impossible here.
And there is Coronel. The right front has utterly collapsed.
Yeah, that's the side that's had contact.
Oh, and it was, and that was Chilton. The 2 Roal cars make contact. Talking to Roberto Ravaglia and Tom Coronel earlier, and he said, got to avoid damage here, because on Tuesday the cars go on the boat, they go across to Europe, and then they drive to the Nordschleife for the test day next Tuesday, so a week Tuesday, and they're not going to have an awful lot of time to fix major damage. And if you don't test on the Nordschleife, you may as well not bother showing up for the race. You're going to be so far out of it. Kozlovsky outbrakes himself. Did he get the line wrong, H? Was he just too deep on brakes, or is he running out of grip already?
It looked like he turned in a little bit early, to be honest. I don't know if maybe, you know, like you say, maybe he turned in because he wasn't going to make the corner and stop it early enough.
3 of 14 laps in, we've lost 2 Chevys. One didn't start, the other one didn't complete half a lap. Hugo Vallant's car is in the garage. Felipe Corsac talking to him on the radio, but Tom Coronel is out of his car and walking away. They'll be able to fix it, I'm sure, for race 2, unless it's a really major collapse.
I wonder if it's damaged Chilton's front wheel, because to break an upright like that, it is a pretty hefty hit.
Yeah.
Look at the straight line advantage the Chevy's got over the Lada.
Well, Chilton paid for the new engine upgrade on the RML-built Chevrolet. Tiny little tap there with Kozlowski. It's not enough to get by in a straight line. As we know that the Lada's got a very good power unit and a really nice aero package on this new Lada Vesta, making it very much more competitive as Chilton bumps alongside him. The battle comes across the line. Kozlowski 11th. Has Chilton got in front? Montero still holding off Muller, so for all the Citroen supremacy, again, Harry, proving how hard it is to get by when there's nowhere to go but the confines between these concrete walls. Yeah,
if you can defend it on the inside, then it's very, very difficult. But we just saw Chilton getting a bit of an overlap there on Huff, and I think that's going to be pretty difficult to defend into turn 1.
Benani, the fastest man on track, you're right. Chilton got by Huff, Huff's got by Kozlowski. Maybe Kozlowski is in brake trouble. If he is, he'll have to have braked a little earlier. Closing up is the Craft Bamboo car of Gregoire de Moustier. De Moustier looking to the inside. It's going to be a long, late lunge. And if the guy in front's under trouble with the brakes, I'm not sure I like that very much. Montero, Muller, Tarquini, Mikulic. That's the battle, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. Stefano D'Aste in 9th. Battles all the way down the order here, not least for the lead of the race. Fastest race lap for Mehdi Benani last time round. Jose Maria Lopez, fastest second sector on this lap. He's starting to stretch his 1.0 second gap away from Quinn Huamar in second, Loeb third, and Benani is closing in 4th on the 9-time World Rally Champion. Rally Argentina going on this weekend. Citroen in action there as well, of course. Lots to be thinking about for the men back home. Muller trying to fight his way up. And Harry, in this situation, you can't dare risk wrecking the car before race 2. There's no time to repair it. He's on pole for race 2. But every point that he can somehow inveigle out of Thiago Montero could end up winning him or losing him the World Championship. Yeah, and apart from anything else, he's got Montero, Tarquini bearing down on him behind, so he is going to have to force the issue fairly soon. Tarquini is right behind him now. He had dropped back. And Norman Mikulic is just a 10th or so behind on the lap, but you see Mikulic pulling right out into the clear air, and so too does Tarquini coming down the straight. Helps you see where you're going and judge the braking distances, but at desperation trying to cool these brakes. Yeah, the drivers must be feeling it now. They're all dodging out of the hot air, so they must be getting long pedals. Well, this is where they'll all be starting to do what Alain Menu has done on every corner of his racing career, which is pump the brake pedal before he goes to it with pressure to make sure it's there. That's a belt braces thing he must have learned when he was a very young racing driver. And here now they'll be doing exactly the same, just dabbing the pedal to make sure there's pressure there, and if not, really getting on it early and pumping it back up. Well, especially here with the curb strikes, you tend to get pad knockoff, which pushes the pads away from the disc. So when you do go for your initial hit, sometimes it can be inconsistent and pull the car to one side. There's the start of Mehdi Benani and Jose Maria Lopez. Lopez lucky that Ma couldn't get by Benani, otherwise the Chinese driver would be leading this race, wouldn't he? Look, just not quite enough room. He tried for the gap, but Benani's front wheel arch was there against the rear wheel arch of Ma, and Ma couldn't get through. A slight tap there as well from Benani. Yeah. And Lopez dominated the corner, but had Ma gone by, Chinese driver would still be leading this race. He would become our 3rd different winner perhaps this season. Lopez and Loeb both won in Argentina. Lopez and Loeb both won here last year. Loeb lies 3rd. And this battle behind Montero, the queue is growing. We've got Montero, Muller in the Citroen then, red, white and green Gabriele Tarquini, Mikulic there, and D'Aste closing in. We know Rob Huff had a power steering problem as well before the start of this race, so let's hope that holds out for him. Yeah, he's behind Thompson, his teammate, and Chilton in front in the red and black Royal Motorsport Capsicum car. Huff is right there. Then see Chilton pulling out of the slipstream. He's not trying to intimidate Jimmy T. It helps, but he's trying to make sure the brakes are there. When he goes for them and he squirrels under braking, you saw the moment he applied the brakes. It was late, it was deep. He goes through and he keeps it on the island. And Huff
around the outside.
Well, that was the main chance. When you're third in the queue, there's always an opportunity to capitalise. And Tomo loses 2 spots in one corner.
It was a good move by Chilton. That was a big stop. You could see the car squirming around on the brakes, and did well not to run too deep into the second part of that chicane.
And that was Huff in hunter-killer mode, wasn't it? Going for the jugular. Lopez pulling away. Now 1.6 ahead of Mar, Loeb and Bernani, all 3 together. And Loeb really hit that big sausage curve there pretty hard.
Bernani's lapping very, very fast, actually. He's the second fastest lapper on the previous lap and the lap before. Lopez is the fastest, but then Bernani's the fastest of the next of the chasing pack. And
the problem now, though, for Bernani is he's caught the 2 cars in front. Let's take a look at this again.
Yeah, it was a real last-minute lunge, wasn't it? But good move.
See Tomo looking out the side window. He knows he's there, trying to figure a way out of that. He got boxed in behind the Chevrolet, which was slow off the corner, and Huffy drove around the outside to take that spot. He's now moved up to 11th place as Tom Chilton is 10th.
I wonder whether there'll be much internal politics about Bernani making a move. Be quite difficult. You don't want to. The last thing they need is for Bernani to take out one of the Winx cars.
Yeah.
Oh, well, he's going.
Well, Loeb's going to defend and Bernani's going to attack, and that's all there is to it. I don't think anybody's going to be saying move over for Bernani.
No.
It might work the other way around.
Yeah.
Mind you.
I wonder how.
Of course, Bernani is being run not by Total Citroën Sport, but by Sebastian Loeb Racing. That is the Sebastian Loeb Racing garage. So it's his team boss that he's trying to get by. It's under the wing of Citroën. The CLEZ that Bernani drives is, we understand, to the full factory 2015 spec. So it's no second-class car. And you can see that. I mean, only Lopez has lapped faster than Bernani in the race.
Yeah.
And Bernani, again, fastest first section of the lap. When he was having a go at Loeb, he had the speed. He had the speed to carry up to him, try and attack the world champion, or the rally world champion.
He's also right in the slipstream now as well. That sector 1 is that big, massive, long straight, so that'll be a big help to set the fastest sector time there.
You see the gap back to the next group, which is Montero. Muller has grown again out to 6 seconds. Muller, looking at him now, cannot get by 5th place Thiago Montero. So Honda's brakes, for all the worries of Thiago, I shouldn't say this now probably, but they do seem to be holding up at the moment. We're at the midway point only, though. So 7 laps in.
We know the Honda's quick in a straight line there, and that onboard shot it just demonstrated that. So that really does make it difficult for Muller to make any impression on him. Even in the slipstream, he's not managing to make any impression on the straights.
Hot, tiring, frustrating work. And Harry, the other thing for the drivers, it's tough enough when you're low in the car, your eyes barely above the top of the door level, not high up as you normally would be, but when there's a car in front, you can barely see anything. Just saw Muller having a little lunge at Montero, and did it work or not? What are we seeing a replay of here? That was the Coronel and Chilton contact. Yeah, that was a fairly significant biff. It was just in front of Tom Chilton's front wheel, I reckon.
Okay, got hit.
Yeah, I think we heard some choice words from Coronel there, actually. But
yeah, got hit. Well, that's the end of the race. And the team now can work on the car and try and fix it. But as soon as the race finishes, they'll have to stop work if he's to start anywhere other than the last row. Battle for 5th place. Thiago Montero looking back at Ivan Muller, and the incident between Coronel and Chilton, of course, will be looked at by the stewards. Got to say, it was a racing incident. They were wheel-to-wheel, first lap. Muller having a run now on Montero. He's got the inside line under braking, Thiago. And he holds it off at the hairpin, and Tarquini is right there and gets his nose inside as Muller tries to shut the door. And Tarquini and Muller, very, very good friends. He was never going to be really hard on Ivan there, but he wants to get by and get another spot up the road if he can.
yeah, that actually saved Montero, I think. It looked like Muller was about to get the overlap, which is what we saw with Rob Huff and Tom Chilton earlier on. He was about to do the exact same move.
Whereas when he nailed the gas, the first thing it had to do was drag the tail back in line. Thiago holds the inside line here. Ivan gets a good run, but Harry, woo.
It's the slightest of taps on it, but there's enough.
On board with Tarquini, he follows through, and yeah, bit of a biff, but Ivan's safe pair of hands. This time down the inside. I did speak too soon about Thiago's brakes. Ivan outbraked him there. And Thiago now being caught immediately by Tarquini, and Mikulic is there as well, and Daster is not far away. Those two major defensive stops may just have put the end to Thiago's brakes. Oh, Bernardi down the inside of Loeb, but he passed him for third. Did he keep it on the island? Let's take a look again from the high camera. He didn't quite. Did he give it back?
Well, you have to give that back because he had his nose ahead, but then you could argue that he wouldn't have been able to do that if he hadn't used the runoff.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. He couldn't get it turned in. It would have spun under him. Well, the team were happy. He is still in front of Sebastian Loeb. That's a tough one to call.
It is. It's difficult, isn't it? It's very touch and go. But on the entry to the corner, he was actually ahead. But like you say, he had to brake that extra bit later and turn in from a tighter line.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have been able to do that if he hadn't used the runoff. So
did he gain an advantage, or you see? And that's the problem. The real problem for the stewards is on this track where there's nowhere to go. He lets Loeb through, and that's the end of the discussion. The real problem when you go to there is, do you actually let them race at all? Because there is almost nowhere where there's a passing place here, and if you've got a sniff of an opportunity, if you run off wide, I don't know, that's tough. But he's given the spot back, so he'll have to start again.
Yeah, all over again. And the problem is now Loeb knows where he's going to try and stick the move on him again, and he knows he's capable of doing it.
But the problem is, Bernani is still faster, and it does still look like he's got better brakes.
Yeah.
Black and white flag for car number 25, Mehdi Bernani. That's for respecting the track limits. Well, he knows he went off there. He gave the place back. Ivan Muller.
That's the play from before. Good move.
That was through he goes. So did we see that before? I don't think we did. I think that probably happened the same time that we were watching the Bernardi incident on replay. So Ivan Muller has got through. And look how quickly he's distanced himself from Thiago Monteiro. Monteiro with Tarquini now shaping up, and Mikulic, and Daster closing as well behind. Stefano Daster doing everything he can to keep his brakes in one piece.
Daster is actually going into the shade of the grandstand. Turning left to get some cool air through there.
He's going to start race 2 in 12th place, Stefano. So anything he's got for race 2 will be greatly received there, I'm sure. Lopez, another fastest race lap, 1:44.095. What was the pole time? I have to have a look at that. It was a 44.057, so he's 4 tenths away from the pole time. The fastest, no, it wasn't, it was fast, 43s in qualifying. Fastest lap last year was set in the race, quicker than qualifying, because the track gets more and more rubbered up, Harry, as we go through the weekend.
Yeah, and cleaned as well, because we saw yesterday in qualifying there was a lot of dust and there's a lot of rubbish on the track. You can sort of see the bags and stuff getting blown around, but there's not the actual amount of dust that we saw yesterday.
Tom Coronel in the pits in his Chevy with a broken front end, and Gregoire de Moustier has retired the Craft Bamboo car with brake issues. Bernani has not given up on Sebastian Loeb. And the fans have not given up on Bernani either. Loeb, now you see, Loeb has gone off wide, defending the position. Did he gain an advantage? At an advantage, no. But did he stop himself losing out? Yes, so honours even.
It's a difficult one to call, and it's one of those ones that's an age-old discussion. Yeah. Here he comes.
Here comes Bernani again, cooling the brakes and saving up to go somewhere else. He's not in the slipstream, so he's not getting a toe off Loeb.
It's such a difficult decision to make, because you know you've got to cool your brakes, but you also know that by tucking at the back of him, you can, you'll be able to suck up to the back of him, but you then can't stop.
Well, Loeb just set the fastest first sector. That's because he didn't slow down as much through the first chicane as he ought to have done. Probably because he couldn't. Lopez, 4 laps to go, 3 after this. We're on lap 11. And Lopez advantage 2.1 seconds last time. And look how far Ma has got ahead of Loeb and Bernani. And there is Jose Maria Lopez, girlfriend Victoire. Fiance, indeed. They speak French at home now. His French is superb now. I was saying to him the other day, did you learn it when you were racing Formula Renault V6 with Dams? He said, no, I didn't speak a word then, but since I joined Citroën, I've been learning fast, and with a French girlfriend, that really helps as well. Mehdi Benani still giving chase, wants to be on the podium here in Marrakesh, and this is his chance. Sebastian Loeb in front of us in third place, has to defend middle and leg as Benani comes up again behind him under braking. Loeb just gets the car squared off into the chicane. Harry Volkard, Benani has got the better car here for whatever reason, but Loeb just, all he needs to do is block for another 2 laps and he should be good for third.
Benani looks mega on the brakes. That's where we've seen him, you know, every time he's a big threat, especially that big stop at turn 3 and 4.
Yeah. Well, down the back here as well, these are big stops as well, aren't they? Because you're really getting up to maximum speed on the back straight. The top speed here in qualifying was over 165 miles an hour. Plenty quick enough when you're trying to stop in this temperature.
It's amazing as well, that kind of speed, how, you know, a metre too late or a metre too early can make the difference between being too slow, but at 165 miles an hour, a metre comes and goes very, very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. And when you're judging a chicane entry to the inch, if you're a metre too far, then you are, or if you're a tenth of a second too late on the brakes, you go a long way further than a metre at that speed. Thiago Monteiro holds off Gabriele Tarquini, 6th and 7th, as Jose Maria Lopez starts lap 13 here in Marrakesh. Well, whatever Thiago's got left for brakes, it's just enough to hold off Gabriele. Again, Gabriele is not going to put in a hard hit on him because they are, of course, Honda teammates. Benani's not going to put in a hard hit on Sebastian Loeb either. If he gets an inkling of an opportunity. There's Mehdi starting on the race 2 grid, 9th, of course, so that's going to be really hard to make the podium. This is his chance. And here he comes again, and this time bouncing down the inside. Really hard to get it stopped offline there. It's so rough, and it shatters across the curb, and that might have been his last opportunity. He'll have lost a second and more to Loeb there.
Yeah, I think so. That could be game over, unfortunately, for Benani.
Tarquini not looking to make a move on Monteiro there, just pulling out into clear air to cool his brakes down a little. Benani, watch the car bounce around there.
He's lucky to keep that out of the side of Loeb, actually.
Yeah.
You can hear his rear wheel lock there.
Oh, yeah, there's the reaction from the friends and the family, the sponsors and the supporters in the Sebastian Loeb Racing Garage. So Jose Maria Lopez, fastest first sector, fastest second sector of the lap, rather, this time round. So has Mar, so has Loeb in third. Thiago setting a personal best first sector as well. I wonder if he jumped the chicane. Tarquini again just cooling the brakes and riding shotgun, 5th and 6th, or 6th and 7th, 7th and 6th, doesn't make any difference. Loeb, Lopez rather, fastest lap of the race, 43.8. Thiago's dad watching. Mar, his personal best. Loeb, his personal best. Benani, not so. A 1:45.1, Loeb a 44.9, so Benani another 2/10 away on that lap. I think that last shot was the last shot. On to the final lap here in Marrakesh. Race 3 of the 2015 FIA World Touring Car Championship. Monteiro and Tarquini, it's just survive now, isn't it? Get to the line and let the team do what they can do. Lopez still in the Citroen, obviously. And a 1:43.8. I do need to find my official qualifying sheet now to find out what the pole lap was. It was very close to that, I think. And it's entirely possible that the track will actually get quicker again in the final session, in the last race of the weekend.
That shows that the Citroen, obviously, they're not pushing 100% if he's able to do that on his final lap. And it's, you know, it is impressive how the performance of things are generating.
But the pole lap in Q3 from Lopez, a 43.85, so we're inside that. However, the fastest lap was a 43.39 that he did to go top in Q2. So 1:43.39, we're half a second away from the very fastest lap ever recorded on this track. Down into the hairpin for the final time. He's allowed Qinghua Ma to close up despite that fastest lap on the previous tour. Checkered flag awaits. It's a 1-2-3 for Total Citroen Racing. Jose Maria Lopez wins his second race of the season, his second in Marrakesh. Qinghua Ma, second position, third for Sebastian Loeb, Fourth for Mehdi Benani with his personal best lap of the race, closing in on Loeb again, right to the checkered flag to try and take some advantage. And it's going to be a long while before anybody else gets to the line. Top four are celebrating. Muller is fifth, Montero sixth, Tarquini seventh, Mikelic eighth, Stefano D'Asta in ninth, and Tom Chilton will be again a few seconds back in 10th place. Rob Huff crosses the line in 11th. And no home podium in race one, at least for Mehdi Benani. He tried everything he could, got by Sebastian Loeb, but decided that may have been a conversation on the radio with his engineer on the pit wall. Do I have to give it back? Do you know what? You probably do, actually.
Yeah. They would have definitely got the message from the race director straight away, and then they would have got on the radio to Benani and said, give that position back.
Yeah, and you know, that's a good way of doing it. If the race director says, we think you need to give that back or you're going to have a penalty, it gives you the opportunity to play a get-out-of-jail card. And then the result at the line that the viewer sees is the result that stands.
And then a stellar race for you. Well done.
Yes. He did an amazing start, to be honest, because my start was not bad. When I saw the mirrors, Madrid was everywhere. So I defended, and I know I had a good car. So after I concentrate to try to do a good pace, to try to don't hit anything, which is quite complicated on this circuit. What can I say? The car reacted fantastic. I had a fantastic pace. I pull out, and I enjoyed every lap of the circuit. Thanks again to my team. Citroën did an amazing job again, and this wouldn't be possible without them. So I dedicate this victory to all Citroën, and we'll see what happens now in the second race, but it's good to start like this.
Chito, your second win, congratulations.
3 races, 2 wins. Batting average isn't that bad again for Lopez. And again, a point split with Mar second and Loeb third. Muller down in